Hey, hi, Daylon.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, good. So I wanted to
Awesome.
welcome too, Daylon. We were just welcoming Justin. He's a high school student, and he was asking, and I would put this question to you. He's asking what he's considering getting into real estate, and he was asking if it's a good business to get into, and if it is, what would you suggest that he do to get started?
Awesome, man. That's actually a great question. And anybody that's starting in real estate, that will be a good question, something to think about. So real estate is definitely a great business, not only because of flexibility, but you have the chance, you have a lot of doors that could open for you and within the industry. So depending how your niche or how you want to start, definitely real estate it's a good opportunity to make a great income and having also the time, which is the biggest asset that we can all have. So today, actually, this is a good training for it because today we're gonna be covering if you come into the real estate industry, how can you start getting leads, especially when it comes to like getting seller leads and how to have listings. And one of the reasons why you should have listings is because you do want to have control of the inventory, and listings give you that. So if you become a listing agent, it will give you exactly that. The training today, and again, I'm sorry for where I'm at right now. I had a closing at 1, so I left the sellers there. They're signing now. They're being taken care of. So, but I still wanted to go ahead and reach out to you guys with this training today. And at the end, there's going to be some announcements, and also we have invited Marta Pozo. It's joining us today. She has some updates that she wants to talk to you guys about. So the training today has to do with how to use geographic farming to win listings. Now, this is tagging along to what Steve has been training on Tuesday and Thursday, how to get listing, how to go hyperlocal. But my question to you is, are you
Dylan, you're broken.
farming an area? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Daylon, you're going to have to repeat the last minute or so of what you were saying. You cut out because of your connection there.
Got it. If I cut off or something, please let me know. So what I was saying is that geographical farming or geographical marketing is the practice of making yourself well known in a local area. And there are a few ways that you can go about that. So like I said, Steve has been talking about going hyper local. Now the question is it worth it? Well, before we get into the nitty gritty, keep in mind that you should go after neighborhoods that have a high turnover rate. You don't want to go and try to farm an area that only has a 4% turnover rate unless the listing commissions are huge. And if that's the case, it might make good sense to you. But it's all about doing the math. Anything related to business comes down to doing the math. So what are you spending to get the lead and get the listing? What is the commission you're going to earn? So if the math doesn't make sense, you're not going to be profitable. So always run the math, run the numbers before you go into a geographical farm to ensure you're making a wise move. So you should also consider whether the area you're planning to farm is convenient to your office or your home. And so for that, you got to do your homework. You got to see who's in there is the pre-existing competition in that area. Who's your competitor? If there's already a well-established go-to agent in the area, are you willing to spend the money and expend the energy to knock them off their pedestal, so to speak? So if the answer is no, then you got to find a less competitive area to do your business. The point is, you have to be visible, and it's not so much about being in competition to somebody, but you want to dominate. So you're talking about domination. If you're gonna go and work in a geographic area, you want to dominate that area. You got to be well known, and you have to be visible. Once you have established which area you want to farm, there are a lot of ways to move forward. If you live in a neighborhood, you have the advantage of being able to attend HOA meetings and or community events or block parties, etc. A lot of us, I know when we're dealing with communities like HOAs, we tend to hate on them because of all the red tape there is or the problems. But when we if we can become part of an HOA, be part of that community, and be part of an event that the community is doing, this is a way of getting to know, putting ourselves out there and being visible. Even doing simple things like walking your dog can get you in front of even more people in your neighborhood, and it can help you establish yourself in that neighborhood. But regardless of whether or not you live in the neighborhood you're looking to farm, there are a few paths you can take to build a successful geographical marketing campaign. So I'm gonna go a little bit into the marketing methods for geographical farming. And I don't know if you guys have heard of EDDM postcards. That means every door direct mail, or EDDM for short. It's a wholesale way to mail postcards and other marketing materials like a flat mail or even magazines. The best part is that you don't pay the normal rate. You actually pay at a discount for those mailings. For example, 24-page magazine could be shipped out for about 18 cents each. So that's actually a pretty good discount. You can print postcards in bulk, a flyer or newsletters filled with information specifically catered to that neighborhood. So you can go hyper local in this sense as well. You can also do ads online like Facebook or Google geo-targeted ads like Steve talks about it. He teaches us. So if you prefer online advertising, running geographically targeted ads on platforms like Facebook, Google, it's a great idea. Just like you would connect with potential clients using postcards, you can target them with ads on Facebook or Google. And I think this is a great way of connecting nowadays. If you have listings in a neighborhood, you got to run an ad and present your open houses as a really big deal. Include a photo of the house with lots of balloons and a big for sale sign in the front of the yard. That's just one example. It's a way of standing out and show extra effort, that you take for your clients. So this is a way of being visible. Because I've seen there's a number of times that I have seen people that do open houses and you only see a sign and one balloon, but then you're in a street that's not that visible, but you want to make it a big deal. And that's the point. You want to make it a big deal. It's a big event that you're doing, and not only for possible buyers, but you want your neighbors to come over. They have a network. Okay, maybe you can tap into that network. So invite everybody as you can to those open house. Hopefully when this is all over and we can go back to showing houses like that. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and this is we should all be very careful with, and it has to do with calls and door knocking. When you get a listing in a farm area, you should be knocking on all doors for your neighborhood. Introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm selling this home over here. Do you know anyone who's looking to buy in this neighborhood? I'd love to introduce them to this home. Ask them if they have any questions about the home or have any questions about the value of their own home. And this is a great way to casually get in front of people. So notice that I said, hey, I'm selling this home over here. Do you know anyone who's looking to buy in this neighborhood? So now you're actually asking for referrals because you're tapping into their network. Maybe they have a friend, maybe they have a family, and they would love to have them very, next to living in the same neighborhood, so to speak. But the reason I mentioned to be very careful is because due to many new changes in laws around the country, you need to take careful consideration with things like cold calling or door knocking or door hangers. So we have to check with the local government to ensure that the legality that allows us to do this. The same thing with voicemail drops. There are services that allow you to load phone numbers into a database, which sends selected prospect a message that goes directly to the voicemail at whatever time you're scheduled. So depending on the service, the whole process should only take about 15 minutes to set up each time. But one such company is called Slide Broadcast. There's a few of them, and there's lots for other companies, but it's a similar product, a similar service. The reason why we have to be careful with this also, although it's a good idea, is because the Telephone Consumer Protection Act of 1991, known as TCPA, protects consumer from automating dialing system like fax machines, SMS messages, voicemails. So we have to be careful, and we'll have to see what the local government talks about that and what allows us to do that and how we can be protected. But going back to the main point, these are great ideas. If I were to focus on either of this, I would do EDDM postcards. I think it's a great idea to be offline and be in front of them by postcards, mailing, stuff like that, and definitely online. Be online like Facebook, Google Ads. I would definitely invest in that because when you're gonna talk about being known in a place, you want to make sure you again dominate, and that's the way of dominating nowadays. Now I'm gonna let Steve talk a little bit on the cover what he talked about yesterday because yesterday's meeting was amazing and he talked about being hyper local. So maybe Steve, you want to summarize a little bit on that, and then let's give the time for Martha to go ahead and give us the update on Wirefront. Actually, that's what she's going to talk about.
Yeah, thanks, Daylon. And a lot of it is just following up on what Daylon said. For those of you that were not able to join us on Tuesday and Thursday, I have those recordings available. So just request those by emailing me. But the strategy that is really good for these seller listings is to, like Daylon said, dominate your market. In addition to the tactics and strategies that he just outlined there, I would add to that definitely retargeting. This is something that I talk about all the time, and this is a big one. Justin, I'm looking at you. Look into that. That's a digital strategy that lets you drop a cookie, drop a tracking pixel on the browser of anyone that visits your website, and then you can remarket to them. Okay, this is hugely powerful in a a hyper-local strategy, because suddenly everybody in that area, all 500 homes or so, are going to know you, and they're going to see you and keep you. Somehow you just keep popping up in their Facebook, you pop up in all the websites that they go to. There's some kind of a post or an ad or something about you, and it's super affordable, very, very cheap, and it's a fraction of even a cold lead that you would get from Facebook or Google, because the second time around, it's like a tenth of the price. So I would definitely encourage everyone to get their pixel installed on their website and start building that audience, that pixel audience. It'll build the audience dynamically over time, and then you can market to that audience in that area. So that's hugely powerful. So I definitely recommend that. And like Daylon said, you can do a lot with, in addition to the offline stuff with the door knocking, the postcards, and the phone calls, join Google groups, or excuse me, Facebook groups. These Facebook groups are big. I participate in quite a few of them, and you're going to find that a lot of the communities around already have a Facebook group maybe that you can be involved with and become part of the conversation, or start your own, even better. So that's a big strategy that we like a lot. And then, of course, we talked a lot about Instagram, how to use Instagram for hyper-local. That's great for lifestyle stuff, and a lot of adoption. Everybody's on Instagram, especially almost everybody, certainly under 40. And, the age, it tends to skew a little bit younger, but it's getting, that age range is getting older and older too. So, and becoming more mature. So if you have any questions for that, before this, I was fielding questions on anything related to this. So if you guys do have any further questions, put them in the chat, or you can email me, steve@brokernation.net. But otherwise, I'll turn it over to Martha at this point to talk to you. Martha, what do you want to tell everybody about wire fraud?
So this week, first of all, hello everybody. Justin, welcome to this group. I just want to let you know that Broker Nation is a great real estate company that keeps its realtors informed. And Stephen Dalen and the rest of the administration at Broker Nation do an amazing job with keeping all the real estate agents informed. And I think that if I can give you some advice is become educated. The more education you have and the more knowledge you have in the field, the more value you add to the relationship between you and your clients. So that would be my advice to you. Today I wanted to speak to everybody, and I want to play a short video in a couple of minutes. The FBI is now warning of an increased risk of this wire transfer fraud, and I know that I've spoken about wire transfer fraud in the past, and I just want to bring it to your attention once again, because there's more people using mobile banking applications during this pandemic. There's more people using laptops to transfer funds and to cash checks. So the FBI has issued a warning that these cyber actors are going to exploit all these mediums once you have a closing. My recommendation to you is to never put in the, when you're sending an email to a title company or to your clients, never put in the reference or in the message at the top, do not put wire transfer on it, because that'll be a red flag for any of these fraudsters. I'm gonna play a short video, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll take them, and then I can continue talking about them, because I've had a client who was a target of this scam. So Steve, could I share the screen, please? My screen?
Yeah, give me a minute here. Let's see.
I know I always do this to you.
Let's see. Sorry, bear with me here. Okay, go ahead, Martha. You should be able to now.
Can you just see my screen? Yep.
Yes.
Buying and selling a home is an exciting time, but there can be pitfalls for unsuspecting consumers. The American Land Title Association wants homeowners and sellers to be aware that criminals are using wire fraud schemes to steal money meant for home purchases or the proceeds from the sale of the property. Criminals often begin the wire fraud process by using email messages, website forms, or phone calls to steal your email login and password information. Then, hackers will monitor your email messages to learn if you are involved in a real estate transaction. If you are, criminals will email you fraudulent wire transfer instructions, disguised to appear as if they came from a professional you're working with. If you receive an email with wiring instructions, don't respond. If you take the bait, your money could be gone in minutes. Here are 4 tips to protect against wire fraud. Call, don't email. Confirm all wiring instructions by phone using the phone number from the title company's website or a business card. If you received an email about changing wire instructions, do not call the number in the email. Be suspicious. It's unusual for title companies to change wiring instructions and payment info. Confirm everything. Ask your bank to confirm the account number and also the name on the account before sending a wire. Verify immediately. You should call the title company or real estate agent to validate that the funds were received. If you have been targeted by a scam, you should immediately call your bank and ask them to issue a recall notice for the wire transfer. Report the crime to ic3.gov. Call your regional FBI office and local police. For more on the closing process, go to homeclosing101.org.
So there you go. I just can't stress enough how important it is to verify wire instructions. Realtors do a good job about calling my company. My wire instructions have not changed for the past, I would say, 2 years. So if you've already done a closing in my office and you've received my closing instructions, they're going to be the same closing instructions every time you send me the initial deposit, and once your buyer sends me the funds for closing, they're going to be the same instructions. You know, it's a red flag if you receive instructions that are different from the one that I sent you from the previous closing. We're also using our the Qualia website, which is a secure website, which when we send out closing instructions, we send it out through that website so that the information that you receive is secure and encrypted. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I had a client who was very smart because he called our office to confirm his wiring instructions, and he found out that he had been, I think it's called phishing, Steve, I think what they do, and they put in an email address that looked a lot like my email address, but they had left an S off at the end. and he thought that he had received it from my office, and he hadn't. So he was, you know, our wire instructions say, please call our office. So it's just, first of all, you all having the knowledge that this wire fraud is out there, and being very proactive in informing your clients. Again, you're adding value, and I think that it's very important, Steve, I talk about it every week, is to add value to the relationship between your clients and yourself. And the more value you add to that relationship, the more you're going to be sought out afterwards, and the more leads you're going to get from people that are going to be referring you. So I think that's very important. I also, I can include a short, another video so that you can send to your clients, informing them about the issue of wire fraud. I know that part of your, I've seen realtors give clients the notice of wire fraud, which is included in the form Simplicity. I've seen that being a part of the form Simplicity package. I urge you to use that form, but in addition to that, you can also send them in an initial email. By the way, wire transfer fraud is a big issue these days. Go ahead and send them this YouTube video, and it's short. It's just like this one. I know that there was kind of a lot of information packed in those 2 minutes, but I just wanted you guys to be hypersensitive to that, so you have it on your radar. I'll take any questions if anybody has any, and if not, I thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, Martha, if you could share that video with me, maybe I could help distribute it to our agents and anyone on this call that might be interested in having that, right? Is that a public video that we could share with everyone?
It's on YouTube. I just shared the link down there. That's a buyer video.
Okay.
And that should be able to be shared by anybody who has a buyer. They can share that. I think it's a 2-minute video. I saw it a little while ago, and it's very concise about letting your clients know how important it is to be very careful about where they're transferring their funds. And it starts, you know, from the very beginning, from the moment that we have our client, our seller contact, we try to have the seller give us their wire instructions from day one, so that way we don't wait till the last minute to get their wiring instructions.
And I guess that way you have time to confirm it too, right? The person
Correct.
could go check with the bank and things like that, and make sure
I don't send, and my office does not send any wires unless we've spoken to someone that's been able to verify those instructions. I just don't do it. There's too much money being transferred in these real estate transactions for me to send money without speaking to someone and confirming those instructions. It's just important.
Very good.
Very important.
That's very good information, Martha. Thank you so much for always keeping us on the loop. For those of you that don't know Martha, she we at Broker Nation, we always count, you know, it's great to count with people like her, and we're super happy to have her as part of the team. So thank you, Martha, for that.
Thank you, Dalen.
All right, Steve, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Awesome, man. Well, I want to thank you guys for all the for joining us today, staying engaged with us. This week has been pretty much talking about sellers, how to get seller leads and stuff like that. Last week I talked about in Real Estate Friday how to dominate an area, how to dominate a market by, you know, dealing with not having an inventory, and how you can solve that and have the inventory. So I thank you for that. Stay engaged with us, stay trained, especially now if you're starting in the give me 1 second. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Staying engaged with us and being trained. I think a lot of information we've been giving, not only to do it on your offline business, but also how to be online. And that's why Steve comes into play with teaching you how to use the tools that we offer you guys. So take advantage of all this. We're definitely, I don't know if you were able to see, I did a posting this morning, and I put it on LinkedIn and Facebook. It was an article that I shared with that talked about, it was from Florida Realtors, and talks about how to see how the market is changing right now and the mortgage rate. It talks specifically about mortgage rate, how it's all-time low at 3.1%. So that to me reads opportunity. So there's an abundance of opportunity right now that we should be taking advantage of. And this trainings will help you how to see that and how to put into practice. So thank you for, again, engaging with us and staying tuned. Check out our upcoming trainings that we have coming up next week. Go to brokernation.events and stay tuned to that. We always have topics and trainings and things that you can learn and put into action in your business. So I want to thank you everybody again. Steve, do we have any other update to share with them?
We don't have any trainings. I don't have any trainings next week. We're going to postpone that a week or two. We got a couple of other things that we got to take care of first internally, but we're going to pick it up with talking about video content and lead generation through video marketing. But next week, we're taking a break from the Tuesday, Thursday training, but we will be, having your trainings.
So maybe
right
this will be a good time for them to, if you've been following with Steve's trainings on how to set up everything with Chime and your website and stuff like that, this will give us some time to focus on that. And then by the time we come back, then maybe we can ask more specific questions as to, anything that we might have missed. So
yeah, I want to do, I agree with what Daylon is saying. I've been throwing a lot at you guys the last 8 weeks. I mean, every Tuesday, Thursday, just a lot of trainings on all these different topics. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. So if you have any questions on this, on what the right strategy is for you, I always make myself available through email. A lot of you have my direct line that you can call me, and I'd be happy to help work you through it. But I want to follow up with what Daylon said, is use this time now to put these strategies to work. And then when we come back, give me some feedback about how these are working. I want to shout out to a few of our agents. Monica is doing this. She's taken and running with a lot of these strategies and tactics. Ingrid, I don't know if she's on this one, but she's another one that has really been teaching herself and taking a lot of these trainings to heart and putting them into action and getting results. So I want all of you guys to, get good results with this too. And I look forward to hearing your feedback on how you're using this training and how you're putting it into action.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Martha. And thank you, everybody, for staying with us today. Have a happy Friday and enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Everybody wave. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Merci.
guys. Goodbye.
Merci.
See you next week. Have a great weekend.
No, not next week.
Monday. We'll see you Monday.
Oh, Monday, yes. Okay. All right.